Let's carry on here. Number 11. If we become a socialist society, the Enabling Act will enforce the sole goal of the Socialist Revolution for the regulation of all markets and business. It means stock market, trade market, everything, commodities market, will all be controlled by the government. And you'll only be allowed to make as much money as they decide that you should be able to make. Number 12, the Enabling Act will authorize the socialist government to cancel all student debt and to make all public schools free. Sounds great, right? Somebody's got to pay the bill. Guess who? You and me. We'll pay it. There's no free lunch. It's going to be paid, and it's going to be trillions of dollars. Number 13, the Enabling Act will make all private universities and colleges unlawful. Matter of fact, everything private will be unlawful. Socialism is the complete ownership of the government of all things public, which means there is no private. As I said earlier, socialism is nothing but the stepson of communism, of Marxism. That's what it is. Number 14, get through these. Because of the high taxes imposed by socialist government, the Enabling Act will serve as a mandate to take control of all industries and every aspect of the economy, including full control of all stock exchanges, futures markets, and commodities markets. It will happen. Don't believe me? You want to take that chance? That's where we're headed. Think about it. Number 15, the Enabling Act will be a useful tool for the government, for the socialist government, to provide the desired resulting effects of very high oil prices, reduced salaries, single-payer health care, and vast reduction in military spending. That was already happening in the Obama administration. Imagine what will be if Biden wins and AOC and Bernie Sanders are there. Truly terrifying. Number 16, the Enabling Act will be used whenever the socialist government artificially or authentically recognizes, expects, or induces socially, politically, or civilly violent reactions to the economic plight that will result from the socialist political, social, and economic measures. In other words, when all hell breaks out, they can come right in and stop it with force because they'll have the authority through the Enabling Act to do so. Sound far-fetched? It sounds really what I see going on. That's what they want. They want that. They'll use chaos to get power, and they'll squelch chaos after they have power. That's the way tyrants work. The ones we've defeated, all of our history, are the ones they want us to become. Number 17, the Enabling Act will be employed to enforce the socialist government's decisions to greatly curtail or suspend civil liberties such as, but not limited to, free speech, civil disobedience, protest, anti-governmental discourse, and or social media. It will be done, which ties right into number 18. The Enabling Act will demand that all forms of oral or written, public or private opinions be scrutinized, adjudicated, and punishable by law, which they deem to be against the social, political, and economic well-being of the socialist government or the socialist state. You say that's crazy. Every socialist government does that. Is that what you want to hear? Because that's what will come. That is embodied. That is in the very mix of what socialism is. You don't have the right to break loose from the group. You follow the leader, whoever the leader may be. You don't have a right to think for yourself. How dare you think that you're somebody different or somebody better, or whatever. You don't have the right. You have to follow. I remember when I lived in China for a long time, they would always say, follow, you must follow. I said, I don't follow. And I never followed. I even tell them, no, I don't follow. I do my own thing. I'm an American. I'm not a socialist. So, and I never did adapt to that. I'm still not a follower. I'm a leader, and you need to be too. Number 19. Through the Enabling Act, the physical well-being of the general public will be the sole responsibility of the state and the cost of such. Means single payer, and they'll be responsible to keep you alive if you're sick. Sounds great, right? What about number 20? This is the most scary one. And this is what will happen if the state controls your health and meets all of your health needs. Number 20, because of the great cost of keeping citizens healthy, the Enabling Act will give the socialist government wide latitude to decide A, what care should and should not be given, B, who should or should not receive socialist government paid care, excuse me, C, what kind of care can the public get, and C, what can the public eat or not eat, because they're paying for you. They're keeping you alive. They'll decide how to keep you healthy because you're expensive. Think about it. Scary? It will happen. D, what can and cannot be served in public forums or restaurants such as that. They're already doing that in New York. They're already doing it. So it'll just become national. And then E, when the socialist government deems it necessary to consider employing end-of-life measures for your life. In other words, 1, when are you no more valuable? When are you of no more use? Socialism is utilitarian. They only use you as a tool to keep society going. You know, it's like being Dr. Spock as their president. You know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That's basically what it is. And that's what will go down. And then, lastly, number 21, the Enabling Act will be the catalyst for the socialist government to fundamentally end private property and to pass land reform legislation that will eliminate large estates and redistribute it to benefit the rural poor. I'm all for helping the poor as long as they help themselves. There are people who can't help themselves, and it's unconstitutional not to help those who cannot help themselves. But it's totally unconstitutional to help someone who can do it for themselves. But that's what will happen if we become a socialist society. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think this was fiction, an over-energetic mind, or was it real? These are the exact steps that Hugo Chavez took in Venezuela when he turned that country from one of the richest countries in the world into one of the poorest through socialism. These are the exact things he did with an Enabling Act. That's socialism, the one that Bernie Sanders said is great. He said he was very appreciative of the bread lines in Russia because otherwise people wouldn't have anything to eat. And that's what he wants here. I call him Breadline Bernie. Did you know that Venezuela used to be the 4th richest nation in the world at one time? It was the richest nation in Latin America. It was 4 times richer than Japan. Venezuela was 12 times richer than China. Now, today, because of socialism, that failed system that has failed everywhere has ever been used or tried, 87% of the people of Venezuela live below, not above, below the poverty line and are eating out of garbage cans because they took that nation, a rich nation, and destroyed it. Do you think that can happen in America? You don't think so? Are you sure? Think again. It can happen. Ronald Reagan said we are one generation away from losing our freedom. Is that going to be this generation? Or are we going to fight it? America, destiny is knocking at your door. And destiny is a choice. Nothing is for sure. It's up to us to decide what we want for our society, for our nation, for our children. Will we be so selfish to have had a great nation to ourselves and to bequeath to our children a destroyed, failed society because we became too lazy and too entranced by thinking that we could have a great life with other people's money? This election has to be the most important election in the history of our country. And we probably have the best president in the history of our country in Donald J. Trump. Look what he's done. Look how he's built our nation. Look at the economy before this stupid, I call it a plandemic, hit our nation. We had the greatest economy in our history, maybe in the history of the world. Donald Trump did that, and he's going to do it again. He has planted the seeds for greatness, seeds that will far outlive him and me and you, and into the future for our children. He needs 4 more years to let it grow, let him take root. If we rip him out of the Oval Office now, look what we're implanting there. Disaster. We have got to help Donald Trump win. America, if you're lazy and you don't take it seriously, this is your future, what I've read to you today. But if we get out and fight, if we give Donald Trump a great victory and give him votes and tell our neighbors and not be afraid to say, just go out and vote. You don't need to tell anybody who you're voting for, but go out and vote. You've got to put him back in office. If you don't, that once great nation of Venezuela that has become a failed state will be but a forethought when people will consider that once great nation of the United States of America that became a failed state and a society totally controlled by a burgeoning, inflated, overbearing, totalitarian government. That's what the Democrats want for you. That's what Joe Biden wants for you. Joe Biden doesn't know what he wants, but that's what the people around him, his handlers, want for you. What do you want for you? I want freedom. Give me freedom, or give me death. Let us go out and let us be willing to expend our last ounce of devotion for the nation that is the last best hope for humankind. Without America, can you imagine what we will be? God bless you all. I hope this enlightens you and makes you think. And thank God there are millions of us out there who love this man, but we got to try to persuade others to go out and keep America great. God bless you all. Thank you for your time.